Lloyd?
That's right! It's me, your son! And it's Lloyd, Dad!
No. Lloyd. I named you.
You ruined my life!
How could I ruin your life? I wasn't even there!
I don't feel so good. Why are all my limbs slack? Why can't I move my eyes? Oh, why can't I move my mouth? Is this an internal dialogue? I can't see the end of the horizon. Hatsune Miku! Is that you?
And this is just something I want you to imagine, alright? So, imagine just for a moment that a bunch of, like, fairy creatures walk among us, and they look like normal people. But we just absolutely hate the Fae for some reason. So instead, they just start signaling to other Fae around them, like, hey, why don't you guys buy, like, little clothing items, it doesn't matter what, little accessories, that to other people we wouldn't get, but to them, they would understand. And then sure enough, the humans that are not hurt in any way see these, think they're really cute, and even after knowing what they're for, start using them in fashion. If you were one of the Fae who was just trying to locate another Fae and found another human that probably threw, I don't know, salt or steel at you, you would be a little upset, wouldn't you? God damn, I got that. Medroxyprogesterone in my system. Medroxyprogesterone in my system. Medroxyprogesterone in my system. And I don't have the screenshots anymore because they were on my old account, but I want to talk about what bothers me about this whole situation. I warned those book talk women, like, hey, y'all are romanticizing some very awful concepts. You are internalizing that these are okay. And they're like, no, we know they're not okay in real life. And then they turn around and do this shit. No, you don't. I warned these people, and here they are trying to get a petition to, like, oh, get him out of jail, he's innocent. No, he's not. Okay, so this is a message for a couple people in my comment sections right now. Sometimes, I don't know, like, in a sideshow I posted, I know that some of the characters are a little harder to get unless you're, like, in the know. But here's the thing. Some of them are just blatantly obvious. Like, someone said, oh, none of these are real. My brother in Christ, fucking Nimona was in that slideshow. Nimona, hello? And, like, I don't know how to put this. If you watched that movie, or even read the book, or has seen anything that N.D. Stevenson had said about Nimona as a franchise, you would have to be book smacked across the head oblivious to not see that it is a trans allegory. Hello? This is a bit of a hot take, but it really bothers me, so I'm going to talk about it anyways. Please be respectful in the comments, because I know last time I commented about this, a lot of people got mad. I do not understand. I will never understand in the slightest why so many people are willing to just absolutely take the nearest sword they can find and cut their wallet in half for the sake of getting something that they already have that is in perfectly fine condition, and then buy a different version. But oh well, this one's in pink, and not even like, and it'd be one thing if it's as a gift for another person, but no, it's for yourself. And I get, totally treat yourself, go ahead and do that, but like, you have a fully functioning phone, you have a perfectly functioning cup, you don't need to spend another $50 on a new cup or another $900 on a new phone. You don't need to do that. For comparison, I have 2 mugs, alright? I want to show you how I got these 2 mugs. This one I got after my previous mug had broken. The handle broke, I couldn't hold it anymore, so I was just like, you know what, I'll just get a new one. I don't remember exactly when it happened, but eventually this mug landed itself in the wash on a night that I really wanted to have a nice cup of tea, and I ended up using a really tacky one that I absolutely hate. So I was like, in order to curb this, I'm going to buy another mug that is also based off of something that I enjoy. This is normal behavior. Now, if I had continued buying mugs for myself, not for like family, friends, other people, but only for me, that would be an issue. Because why? Because I have 2 already perfectly working mugs. One for just the normal times and one when the other one is in the dishwasher. That's normal behavior. That is normal behavior. I don't think you guys understand this. If you already have a perfectly working cup, an already perfectly working phone, iPad, Nintendo Switch, you do not need to buy a new one just because it's in another color. Do you understand this? And don't even get me started on the people who acted ungrateful when their parents spent, who God knows how much, on an iPad for them last Christmas, and then had the audacity to complain about it because it was in a different color. Insane. They're probably gonna take this video down for me even speaking out about this, but the moderations on this app fucking suck. As you probably already know, even just by, I don't know, looking in my bio, I got banned, and this is a couple days ago. And you wanna know the reason? Comment violations. Not like, oh, you made some stuff that, like, genuinely hurt some people and we have to take your page down, I'm so sorry. Comment violations. And they weren't like awful comments. They were calling people out for being, I don't know, rude people. Meanwhile, you have awful people on this app who still get to stay up. Kevin Leonardo is still on this app. Those people asking for like actual fetish content are still on this app. Yaba is still on this app. They still get to roam free and they've done actual awful things. The moderation on this app is crazy. They target smaller creators who do nothing wrong instead of like actual big creators who are actually bad people. It sucks. Okay, I know that the artist themselves is a person of color, but that doesn't mean that's the only take that we can have on this song. Music is art, and art's meant to be interpreted, and I just think we should all have an open mind about this, guys. I'm decidedly oppressed because of my race. It's not something I can physically hide, so that's something that I face. In the 6th grade, a kid called me mop because of my hair. And the teachers didn't do anything because they didn't fucking care. Hey, can I talk about an issue within the queer community that really grinds my gears, unbutters my toast, ungarlics my bread? Every single time I see y'all talking smack about the Steven Universe gays, someone eventually, like, doesn't understand the term, so someone explains it. And you want to know what every single time y'all are describing? Neurodivergent queer people, every single time. And this pisses me off because the Stonewall brick that this community was built upon was accepting people for their differences so long as they're not hurting anyone. Alright? And y'all can't even do that. Y'all can't even follow the rules. The one rule we have. And it's insane. Because, like, the Steven Universe gays that y'all hate so much, they can do it. They can do it just fine. Because if I talk to y'all moldy fruits about how, like, yeah, I still use the term black woman to refer to myself, because it doesn't matter that I'm gender fluid. I still experience the struggles of a black woman. Y'all would say, like, oh, well, you're gender fluid, so I would suggest using a gender neutral term instead. But you know who wouldn't tell me that? A Steven Universe gay. Guys, look what came in for my Halloween costume. Look what I bought for my Halloween costume. Bam! Bam! It also came with its own little replica of the staff. I can't do pen flipping. But you know where that's going. Straight on the desk. Onto this incense holder, which doesn't catch any ashes. It would appear that a new soul has been added to the collection. See, here's the pattern I'm noticing with a lot of different people. You guys tend to self-project onto marginalized communities because, like, believe it or not, it was never queer people pushing their sexuality onto straight people. It has always been the other way around. Think about it. When's the last time you engaged in any sort of romantic media? And what was that couple like? Almost certainly a straight couple. When's the last time you saw another queer show get canceled, or a queer movie get basically thrown under the bus, or a queer book get bashed online? Again, straight people. When's the last time you saw a queer book get banned in, like, certain states? Again, straight people are the ones doing that. When you go to a family gathering, who's the person telling you, oh, we've just been trying so hard to have a baby, aka describing their sex life in the most vague way possible? Straight people, again. Who are the people in fandom spaces right now complaining whenever someone ships a non-canon queer ship? Again, straight people. Who are the people going online and complaining whenever some media has some canonically queer characters? Again, straight people. It has always been you guys, and because you know it's always been you guys, you project it onto us. Something that I do for fun sometimes is just make wacky little drinks, and I have been prepping one since, like, last night, so let's take a look at that. So the first thing I did for this drink was take some lychee soda and mix a bunch of loose carousel syrup in, and then freeze it overnight. And then I poured the remainder of the lychee soda I had into a cup, mixed it with some grenadine, and made ice cubes from it. Now the real basis for this drink, like the actual drink part and not the ice, is some peach soda. So let's put it all together. First we have to get the ice mold out. I'm just gonna casually, so we have our ice, and surprise topping, star candies. You can really buy these at Asian markets and stuff. This is where I got most of my stuff. I got the soda, both sodas really, at World Market, and I bought these little star candies online. Let's get them in there. And finally, the soda. Wait a second, it's being difficult. Is it going down? It's going down. So yeah, this is a fun drink you can just make at home whenever you really want. It's worth noting that when I froze the first batch of lychee soda, I put it at a slant so I would have room to pour the rest of my stuff, and it would actually look cool. Here is the final product. I want to call this space soda because that's kind of the vibes here. You have space-themed ice cubes, you have little star candies. And if I could get my hands on some, I would totally put some luster dust in this, but I don't have any. Happy drinking, guys, because this is non-alcoholic entirely. You can get this stuff either online or at grocery stores. I got most of this stuff at World Market. So yeah, have a nice day. Because this is a very nuanced conversation to have, I will try and word this as carefully as I can. I agree with your statement. People should be allowed to draw explicit art of adult characters. However, the issue arises when those adult characters, especially when they pull from children's media and the art that is drawn of them is posted publicly. Because it doesn't matter whether or not it's your intention as an artist or whether or not you have under 18 DNI in your bio, children will see it and interact with this. And this is an issue I've had with the art talk community and the more suggestive side of it for a very long time now. Because what happens is that eventually, and I'm not talking about one person in particular, but what happens eventually someone points out like, hey, this artist has repeatedly drawn insanely suggestive things. And that's okay. We're all learning its anatomy. Who cares? But like, they draw it and post it publicly for children to see. That's the issue. Because then they start trying to play the victim over it. And I want to make something clear. If you are an artist on TikTok and you specialize in suggestive content, private your page. Private your page before posting anything. And I know that some of you are going to ask, like, well, if I private my page, then I'm not going to get as big of a revenue because, like, no one can see what I'm posting unless, like, I approve their follow. And guess what? I don't know how to put this, but if you care more about likes, clicks, and views than you do the safety of children online, maybe you're just a morally screwed person. Alright, 2 points I want to make for this video. Number 1, I've been in fandom spaces for around 9 years now, so that's like when I was 10 years old. This is nowhere near my first fandom. This is around my 31st. Good try, though. Number 2, I never once endorsed harassment in that video. I did at some point say like, oh yeah, I don't fuck with pro shippers, because I don't fuck with pro shippers. I fuck with OCX canon, self shippers, crack shippers, rare pairs, cross shippers. I do not, however, fuck with pro shippers, because it doesn't matter what you use that label to mean. I know what you intend by it. I know you mean like anti-harassment. I vibe with not harassing people over what they choose. I, however, do not vibe with the fact that whenever I see people bring that up, it is in defense of like actual problematic content. That's my issue. It doesn't matter that you mean it in a, I don't harass people over their personal taste, because creeps and weirdos are still using your label to get away with their creep weirdo shit. And if you took me saying that I do not vibe with creeps and weirdos because you have a lack of context clues and assumed that I meant that I harass people when they ship stuff I don't like, that's a you problem, not a me problem. What even was like this dude trying to achieve with this comment? Like, I'm autistic too, but like, when I see people acting a little cringe online, I call them slurs. Like, okay, buddy, you're not special. This tells me one of two things, and both are probably true, is the thing, because both coincide with each other. Number one, you're a fucking pick-me. No one says shit like this as a neurodivergent, let alone autistic person, unless they're a fucking pick-me within the community. I just want to get that off the bat. I hate to break it to you, but like, they're not gonna pick you. The neurotypicals will not pick you. The ableists will not pick you. You and I are chickens on a field. We eat grass and seeds and shit, and chicken feed that is specifically fed to us to make us fatter, to make us more delicious for when we are sent to the slaughterhouse to be turned into some 12-year-old boy in Detroit, Michigan, who's probably named Travis or something, and we're turned into his plate of dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets. Alright? We hail from the same farm, the same circus. Number two, the internalized ableism. Holy fucking shit, bro. Like, like I said earlier, internalize any sort of hatred, any sort of internalized hatred in general, and pick-meism go hand in hand. Because what happens is you hate a part of yourself that you know you cannot change, and instead of trying to work out that, you think that taking it out on other people who share that kind of trait will make you better than them, will make you stronger than them. And let me tell you something, it doesn't. It fucking doesn't. I feel so much happier than you because I actually love myself as a person, and you are still working to that level. And when you do eventually get to that level, you are going to look back at this comment and cringe so fucking hard at the person you used to be. A piece of media that I feel like encompasses a recent thing I brought up, the fact that, like, it's not just pick-meism, it's being a jerk in general, but, like, internalized self-hatred and pick-meism go hand in hand. A really good piece of media that I feel encompasses this is the Obsidian episode of Adventure Time Distant Lands. As cute as they were, this is not about Princess Bubblegum and Marceline being a couple. I wish. It slightly is. It slightly was the reason for their breakup. But that's besides the point. The point of this episode, the message of this episode, the takeaway you're supposed to get is, at the end of the day, we are all struggling with certain aspects of ourselves that we can't change, and because of that, whenever we hear, like, people talking about how awful this thing is, if that's a part of ourselves that we can't change, we start to internalize this hatred of it. And then we start to internalize this hatred of our own selves, and we start to lash out at other people. And sometimes you do that without even realizing, like, hey, maybe I need to sit back and assess some things. That's the point of the episode, and I feel like a lot of people would benefit from hearing that.
In her interview on a TV show one time or for a game show. Of course you would know that, nerd. You're so smart and cool. I mean, smart and gay! What?
Catch me, I'm the fastest thing alive.
I was thinking about why so many in the radical left participate in speed running.
Huh?
The reason is the left's lack of work ethic.
What?
Go fast rather than do it right. And in a Petersonian sense,
Petersonian?
to elevate alternative sexual archetypes in the marketplace. Fastest hedgehog.
Shadow, what the fuck are you talking about?
You're a beta male, Sonic.
I don't know what to do without you. I don't know where to put my hands. I've been trying to lay my head down, but I'm writing this at 3 a.m. I don't need the world to see that I've been the best I can be, but I don't think I could stand to be where you don't see me.
Can you blow my whistle, babe?
Open your hands up, son. That's a little version of me, Alan. I want you to have it.
Hey, don't worry, boss. I'll take care of this.
Non-lethally, right? Non-lethally.
right?
Oh, can't hear you, bye!
And I don't know, this is maybe just some food for thought for you guys. If someone from within a marginalized community tells you, hey, a lot of the people that aren't in my community happen to make a lot of jokes and or comments that, whether they're intending to be or not, can read off as harmful to my community, can read off as derogatorily towards my community. So it would be great if you guys just didn't do that. If you hear someone tell you that, and your gut reaction, your gut response is to just go, well, not all of us make those jokes. We're not all that bad. Instead of, I don't know, holding the people that are making those jokes accountable, maybe you need to reassess your values. And this is not meant as hate towards anyone, but if I had a nickel for every time an inside joke within the autistic community became popularized within non-autistic spaces as either an insult or a joke with ableist measures, whether or not you tell it with ableist intentions, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, and it's a little fucked up that it happened once to begin with. I'm glad that we're finally talking about the weird shift in fandom culture that has taken place in the last couple of years. Pretty much the ongoing theory is that sometime during 2020 and 2021, a bunch of previously non-nerds got into nerd culture and fandom culture in general, and basically tried to heavily normalize it as best they could. So now everything that was once bright and fun is now really boring, because if you do anything that is outside of their pre-established norm, then you get bullied off the internet. But one thing I just want to touch on is y'all's weird hatred for OCX canon, because hear me out on this. Is this your op? Is this your greatest enemy? Is this your deadliest rival over here? Also, I'm gonna hold you guys' hand for this one. Every single story or franchise where the main synopsis is, let's take a bunch of fairy tale characters and give them kids and make the kids hang out and go to school and interact with each other. Also OCX canon. Because whether a lot of people, and reasonably do, assume that the term only means like shipping OCs with canon characters, but in reality it just means OCs interacting with the canon of that media. So yeah, they do in fact count. Anyways, the summary of that big chunk is that OCX canon has been around for A, longer than you guys have been in fandom spaces, and B, longer than all of us have been alive. Now we've arrived at my favorite part of the video, in which I describe a random story and you guys guess what it is. Here are your hints. Number 1, this random story is in fact, relevant to the video. It does contain OCX canon. Number 2, this story is known internationally. Number 3, this story is so well known and so well liked that it has either been retold in several different ways, had several different movies based off of it, and even has a popular video game mascot with a video game entirely based off of this story. Have you guessed what it is? If you said Hercules, give me a drum roll please, you're wrong. It is the classical King Arthur stories, and I'm going to give you a lot of context for that. Please take everything I say with a grain of salt, because even though I can, at the very least, guess that my memory is accurate, I cannot confirm that I'm wording things correctly to the point where they come off as accurate. Sorry about that. The original context of which the myths were written, like bare bones, the first ones that were written down, are all Welsh. All of them. King Arthur, Welsh. Merlin, Welsh. Morgan Le Fay, Welsh. The sword, Welsh. The lake where the sword is rumored to rest, Welsh. All of it's from Wales. And at the time, the most popular religion, the most popular belief there was Celtic mythology, Celtic spiritualism. And again, I don't know the years, take it with a grain of salt. Guess what started happening in Europe around that time? The Christian Crusades. I'm gonna let a lot of people yelling at me for bringing this up. That doesn't matter. Oh boy. So, pretty much at the time, this dude in France, I don't remember his name, decides to write this awesome character who totally is part of the Christian faith, trust me, named Lancelot, who is, one of the most well-known characters from Arthurian mythology. Yeah, Lancelot is an OC. And I know you could technically say, like, oh, well, King Arthur, like, those could count. Like, I specified that technically mythological characters who have already existed in the context of tales told down through time don't count. We don't know the exact original creator of the King Arthur myths, and therefore that's why I don't consider them OCs. But, like, Lancelot is. Galahad, I'm pretty sure, also is. Yeah. So pretty much, if it weren't for the Christian Crusades, King Arthur would not contain OCX canon.
Okay, so I haven't seen the movie yet.
Hi, Fofi, I'm a really big fan of yours. I've been watching your YouTube videos since I was in the 4th grade, and since we're on the topic of pieces of media that you have yet to watch or indulge in, so I'm sure most of us have seen the people on TikTok Shop advertising those marble sodas. This is what the bottle looks like. This is what the bottle looks like after you've drinking it, and also when it's from a different brand and is a different flavor. I'm upset with these advertisements. Wholly upset with these advertisements. Only some people know how to advertise these. Why are the vast majority of y'all calling these Japan sodas? Japan sodas. I just want to make something clear, even if you want to pull the whole, well, technically, it's a Japanese variety of soda, so technically, that's correct. Technically, it's, grammatically wrong, because Japan's a noun, a proper noun. I'm not sure if you knew that. Even if you want to pull the, well, technically, wouldn't Japanese soda be grammatically correct? Yes, it would also be overly vague, because there's more than one soda in Japan than ramen. If you ask me, like, hey, do you want to go get Japan sodas later? Or let's just say you've been binge watching Martha Speaks that morning. Hey, do you want to go get Japanese sodas later? I'm going to drag your ass into a world market, point you at the wall of various different kinds of Japanese sodas, and ask, which one do you want to get? Anyways, number 2, and this was only one specific video, and I cannot find this video for the life of me. Tell me why I saw a guy trying to open it, and I have to use an already opened bottle for this, but like this. Like this. I have to change set locations because I don't have enough of a flat space to just record it, but I'll show you guys how to open these. So an interesting fun fact that Thumbro totally completely missed is that there's actually instructions on the bottle. Like, there's some on the little plastic cap up here, there's some right here, and they're also conveniently, depending on which brand you get, either depicted or written in English. So that helps a lot. Really would help before he recorded that video, I think. Anyways, what you're going to want to do is take this little plastic bit off first. There's little dotted lines so you'll know where to do it. Which leads you to find this little thing on the top of the bottle. And also you'll notice that there's a marble stuck in the bottle. Wow, I wonder where the soda got its name from. So what you're going to want to do is pop this little thing out. All right. Now check this out. You take this, you push it down in. Wasn't so hard, was it? Happy drinking, y'all. So 3 points I'd like to make for this video. Point number 1, no, it's not correct, because Japan soda is not a grammatically correct phrase. What you're looking for is Japanese soda. And point number 2, not even that is technically correct, but not for the reasons you're thinking. See, that's a vague statement, because if you were to ask, like, anyone in the Western Hemisphere, especially Americans, oh, I want one of those Japanese sodas, they'd probably bring you a ramen. But if you were to ask anyone working in an Asian market or world market, or anyone in Japan to begin with, oh, I want one of those Japanese sodas, they're probably going to bring you any old soda that you could find in Japan. Which brings me to point number 3. The weird obsession that people have with culturally labeling everything from another culture on this, it's not an issue, it just kind of bothers me, because, like, I don't know, we don't go online and see, like, people from other countries talking about, like, yes, I just love Americans and their America soda, in reference to Coca-Cola, now do we? No, we do not. No, we do not, because that would be weird. That would be awkward. But yet we do this, especially with Japan, all the time. People call just rock music over there J-rock. People call pop music J-pop. A lot of people call anime Japanese cartoons. Girl, it's just a cartoon. It already meets the cartoon criteria. And now we have these sodas being called Japanese soda, which again, is a broad term. Is an incredibly broad term. Anyways, my points in this video are, get better grammar, be more specific, and you don't have to label everything as the culture as it is, because to that culture, it is literally just that thing. So you can literally just call it that thing.
Redecorated my ITA bag to go with my Halloween costume.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Gibby.
She doesn't speak English.
I'm still Gibby.
Funniest part about the policies of a certain geriatric genetically modified Cheeto Puff are that he seems to think that birth control is only being used as a contraceptive measure. It's not. It's really not. I'm on birth control. The nurse who gave me my second shot last September let me keep the vial and everything. Do you think I'm getting laid? I'm really not. I have receipts. For starters, there's this big-ass asexual flag on my wall. I feel like that says all it needs to. Just in case that wasn't enough proof, this is what the desk next to my bed looks like. It's literally just stuff based off of my special interest. No one who's getting laid on a regular basis has a Goku Reese's Puffs box in their room. If I'm not getting knee-deep in the passenger seat with every attractive stranger I lock eyes with as if I'm some sort of hormonal Pokemon trainer, then why, pray tell, am I taking a substance that, truthfully speaking, only severely lessens my chances of getting pregnant? Because ever since my junior year of high school, Mother Nature thought it would be really funny to ramp up every symptom I hated about my period to 1,000,000%. And all of a sudden, I'm calling my parents every month or so saying, hey, the nurse said that she can't give me another dose of Tylenol, even though the first one literally didn't kick in, because the first one also technically didn't wear off. So she said it would be best if you guys just picked me up and took me home so I can get another dose. Or, hey, I know I'm 5 minutes within walking distance of our house, but I feel like if I move anymore, I'm actually going to splatter my guts on the pavement, so it would probably be best if you just drove over here and took me home. And I told my OBGYN this. I've told them this like twice now. And the fact of the matter is, I didn't get a diagnosis for anything. But do you want to know what I did get? A fucking prescription. A prescription that has also helped other people in my life. One of my friends since elementary school, what's supposed to be the inner lining of your uterus ended up on the outside of her uterus. So now she has to take birth control too, because otherwise things get sucky. One of my friends, my best friend actually, has PCOS, and they also have to take birth control because, yeah, that also sucks. So the fact of the matter is, birth control is not just a contraceptive method, it is also actual fucking healthcare. And instead of worrying about, like, oh, how do we prevent women from, like, stopping pregnancies? Worry about yourself, because one of us is a virgin and the other of us has 34 guilty counts of sexual assault. I'm just as upset about the current election prediction as anyone else right now. Like, it is just a prediction. There's still a slim chance, but a chance nonetheless that Kamala could win. But what we're not going to do is bash every single person who happens to live and breathe in a red state simply for living and breathing in a red state. I'm so tired of that. I'm actually so tired of that. Every single time something bad happens in a red state, you guys justify it by saying, well, the red states, they hate women and queer people and people of color. And it's just like, I'm all three. Am I just supposed to die then? Because you just don't like the state I live in? Like, the next time a hurricane hits my hometown of the fucking Bible Belt, am I just supposed to not evacuate because some trans-masked white guy probably named after his favorite anime character told me, oh, well, you live in a red state, so your suffering is justified. I'm so tired. Y'all want to be Chappell Roan, the Midwest princess herself, so bad, because, and by that I mean the fact that she literally grew up in a red state as well, and had to be the openly queer person who inspired other people to openly be their authentic selves, because she didn't have that. And y'all want to be that so bad, when in reality, you are just Taylor Swift. And by that, I mean, you don't actually give a shit about queer people and women and people of color who live in red states. You only happen to give a shit about us when it justifies your claim of, yeah, that hurricane that killed hundreds of people and caused hundreds of people to lose their homes and families and jobs was totally justified. Because that state just happens to hate women and queer people and people of color. I'm so fucking tired of your performative-ass bullshit. So last night when I was rewatching Miraculous Ladybug, I came up with the thought of, hey, wouldn't it be much easier for Gabriel to just rage bait people? Because he does instigate people a couple times in the show. He does it to Nino, he does it to Simon Says, he does it in the season 2 two-part finale. There's a couple more times where he does this, I just can't think of them right now. But, like, he's also an adult, so he doesn't have to transform back every time he wants to akumatize him, and also the Akumas can multiply. Why not apply that knowledge, like, at all? Why not? What's the problem? What are you waiting for? Like, why are you sitting in your basement and waiting for the same grown-ass adult to throw a tantrum because he wasn't allowed to feed pigeons for the 8th time that week and it's only Tuesday? When all you really have to do is post about, man, I love pineapple on pizza and I'm Gabriel Agreste. And half the people in Paris are now fuming about how Gabriel Agreste loves pineapple on pizza, and you have an army right there. Like, you'll probably still lose to plot convenience, but at least I'll actually laugh watching it.
Making an earring out of my birth control prescription vial. Gotta heat it up so it goes through. Didn't work, so I had to grab a needle sad face. Super glue so it stays in. I dropped it. Spreading the glue so it dries faster. Opening the hoop to attach the earring part. Attaching the earring part. Closing the hoop to attach the earring part. And they're done.
Ignore the single lock covered in tinfoil. I'm doing a test bleach for hair dye. People who complain about their small niche interest getting viral and getting new fans just because, oh, the new gens found it, why? What is wrong with you? Like, the best case scenario is that now that everyone's going to flock to this thing, there's more stuff being made of that thing that you can buy. How is that a problem? My special interest for the past 2 years has been the Journey to the West, more specifically the Monkey King. I live in America. Do you know how hard it is to find Journey to the West or Monkey King themed merch that isn't Dragon Ball in America? Extremely. Extremely hard. 2 months ago, Black Myth Wukong hit the market, and I have not the patience to wait 4 hours to update my brother's Xbox to get this game, so I'm not gonna do it. But, I've been excited ever since. You want to know why? Because there's far more accessible Journey to the West and Monkey King themed merch that I can buy now. Like, this thing off of TikTok Shop, no pun intended, getting this thing was an entire journey in itself. I have tried to buy this 4 or 5 times now, and this is the first time it actually shipped in. Time number 1 got canceled because it was taking too long for them to package it and they ran out of stock. Chance number 2, same thing happened. Chance number 3, it asked me, hey, it's gonna take a while for us to get back in stock to get you your item. Are you really sure you want this? And I was like, well, yes, let me confirm it, but I couldn't because my account got banned. And I'm still mad about that to this day. Like, why would you send me that email if I can't even access my account? Time number 4, same thing happened. They really wanted to check in with me about it, didn't have the time to, order got canceled. But time number 5, I saw order shipped, and I have never felt more elated in my life. And finally, I have this thing. And if you know me by now, you know exactly where it's going. Anyone who thought of anything that was even slightly inappropriate, get your mind out of the gutter. It's going on my desk. It's going right on my desk. So for the past couple of months, I've been wanting to dye my hair. Specifically, I've been wanting to dye it orange. I literally got orange dye for this. The fox on there, it's orange. So I did a test strand with bleach. Liked the result, so I did the rest of my tips in bleach. Took a shower to kind of rinse it out so it wouldn't get on my skin. Then applied the actual dye, and when I was applying it, I was like, hey, this looks kind of red. But in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what, it's probably gonna, I have to rinse it out afterwards anyway, so it's probably gonna even out to a nice orange, nice, maybe deep scarlet color. It's red. And I'm not even mad at the results, because you know who I look exactly like? Y'all remember, like, back in mid to late 2012 when this random small town in, like, the literal northwest coast, like, their news channel just shut off for a couple days, I think up to, like, a week or so, and then they came back, and it was just like, we don't know what happened for the last couple of days, so we don't want to talk about it, and if you do talk about it publicly, we will tase you. Like, what? And this wasn't the first time, like, something weird happened over there, because, like, there were actual, I don't know how to really describe it, but there was, like, entire weird signals going off in there. Like, the almost supernatural stuff. Like, do y'all not remember this? Same year, too. Hello?
Everyone in this kingdom wants another sword in my heart. But sometimes I just want to let her.
I built a path of freedom cause it words and he said, give a fuck about traditions, I've been pressing the dead. I'm gon' make it out, promise I'm gon' make it out. Mama, I'm gon' make it out, pussy, I'm gon' make it out. I ain't never had a doubt inside me, and if I ever told you that I did, I'm fucking lying. Can you feel that light inside? Can you feel that fire? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Fire. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Fire. Can you feel the light inside? Can you feel that fire? Can you feel it? Fire.
As the final sun in 2024 has finally risen, I'd like to list a couple things that we're going to be leaving behind in 2024. Number 1, millennials. You will stop blaming the outside factors for the fact that you cannot parent properly. I really do mean this. Every so often I see a millennial on my For You page complaining about how their kid was exposed to something they shouldn't have been. And whose job was it to protect them from that content or keep them from that content? In terms of YouTube Kids, you guys know you can restrict content on your kids' devices, right? If you don't know how, ask their school tech staff, which I know you guys have contact with, because number 1, all you do for your kids is the bare minimum, and I know that sending your kids to school is part of it, and number 2, you guys are too lazy to properly parent your kids, let alone homeschool your kids, so I know you're sending them to a school. onto the fact that you guys keep blaming Sabrina Carpenter for being explicit. Whose job is it to check whether her music is explicit or not before buying several $100s worth of tickets to go see her? Right, yours. Here's a tip. This is what we call an album cover, alright? Usually in one of these four corners, there should be the letter E. I don't know why this one doesn't have it, please stop asking. If it has the letter E in it, you give the good album a listen before considering, should I take my kid to this or should I not, because it's not appropriate for my children. Glad we had that talk. Number 2, no more physical fights over cups, guys. No more of that. No more of that. If Stanley releases the pink Starbucks cups again, the pink Stanley cups, sorry, and you happen to want to get one, so you go to your local Starbucks and pick one up, and oh, the person in front of me got the last one, you are going to walk out to your car and drive to another Starbucks. Here's the thing, a lot of the people who were acting like this over, again, literal cups, already had a Stanley cup at home that is now sitting on their desk collecting dust because they got a cute new pink one. Here's a tip, you don't need to be spending $50 on another cup if you already have the same cup, just in a different color. Why not spend, I don't know, $8 at Michael's and get some paint and Mod Podge and paint over your cup? It's that simple. Number 3, we're gonna stop giving attention to dating advice accounts on this app that are just prying on people's insecurities. I cannot stress that enough. Every so often I see people talking about like, oh, if they're talking to their ex, it's a red flag. If they're still in contact with their ex, it's a red flag. Really depends on the situation, actually. What's a red flag is that you don't know how to directly communicate to your partner. Because here's the thing. Yes, it could be that, the rare occasion, they're only in contact with their ex because of lingering feelings. And potentially if your relationship falls apart or some aspect of your relationship isn't doing it for them, they can just run back to their ex or cheat on you with their ex. Fair, fine, okay. Larger chances are, they just broke things off and are still friends, and broke things off because, you know, they weren't romantically good together and don't plan on trying that again. Or, even worse in some cases, one party of that relationship was way too dependent on the other, and the other would manipulate them because of it. Maybe just communicate to your partner instead of assuming the worst. Can't be that hard. Can't be that hard. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Have a great 2025. I hope we all decide to be really mature in the comment section and not bash me for having opinions.
My lips like sugar, my lips like sugar. This candy got you sprung, this candy got you sprung. So call me your let's see, wearing me, sharing my good sides.
Guys, whatever happened to reading? Whatever happened to using our context clues? So the text in that video, it is basically my thought process, but you know, it kind of directly and explicitly implies that the people I'm talking about are the people hating on the trend for, you know, being cringe. And even if you are just like, okay, but what about, I specified in the caption. I already specified all that in the caption. I'm not talking about people like this commenter who had bad experiences in 2020 that they don't want to relive. Or I'm not talking about people who are pointing out genuinely good criticisms of stuff that happened in 2020, mostly online, that they don't want to bring back. I'm talking about people who are seeing people say, let's bring back being able to freely, harmlessly express ourselves without 7,000 hate comments about it, and saying, oh, that's cringe, I don't like it. That's what I'm talking about. And for the record, I still stand by what I said. Everyone who sees people trying to harmlessly express themselves and is going out of their way to bully those people under the guise of, well, it's cringe, yeah, y'all are just bullies. You really are. was saying you dress better than me and I'm jealous, I mean, I'm assuming that's what you meant, considering you probably dress like, what, a recently divorced Adam Sandler who's still pretty upset about the divorce and also hasn't left his basement in 3 weeks? Yeah, I can give you some tips on that. Go thrifting and look for better material. Glad we had that chat. If you're in support of the writer's strike, you cannot support or use generative AI. If you're in support of the animator's strike, you cannot support or use generative AI. If you're in support of the voice actor strike, you cannot support or use generative AI. Why are you claiming to be for these strikes while also using and supporting the exact technology that is going to replace those workers? Thank you. Since we're all sharing our hot takes before this app gets tanked in America, one of mine is that I will never understand TikTok's community and their whole flip-flop stance on AI. Specifically generative AI, I want to make that clear. 1 week it's bad and awful and we shouldn't use it, and the next day, everyone's trying to figure out what they look like as a Studio Ghibli character. My brother in Arceus, Hayao Miyazaki, the founder of Studio Ghibli, actually hates AI. You realize how ironic that is, right? But even if that weren't the case, you guys do realize that there's an entire group of people called commissioned artists, alright, stick with me, that if you just slip them $20 or so, will willingly draw you as a Studio Ghibli character. And I don't want to hear no, oh, well that costs money, oh, they charge too much. Listen, if you're out here bragging about how employed you are under every hot take that you don't like, then you most definitely have enough money to pay a commissioned artist. Thank you.
There's no such thing as evil people. Just ordinary people who do bad things because they're unhappy.
Jump.
What? Jump.
For those of you that were previously unaware, a handful of people, myself included, are boycotting the apps owned by the meta groups such as Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, because part of the reason why TikTok is being banned is because ever since it got viral in the US, a handful of people stopped using those apps, and therefore they gained less revenue. And banning TikTok would push people back onto those meta group apps. Here's something funny I learned today. When I went to delete my Instagram account, I don't have Facebook or Threads and never did, they asked me why I deleted my account. And one of the reasons I was able to give for that was, oh, I was concerned about my data. So when you go to delete your Instagram, and if it's the same on Facebook and Threads and you go to delete those too, that's the reason you're going to pick. Because number one, it's going to be really funny when a bunch of articles start coming out about how many people are just mass deleting their Instagrams and their Facebooks and their Threads under the guise that their personal data is under threat, which, mind you, is the same exact reason that the United States government is trying to convince us is why TikTok is being banned. And number two, when millions of people leave their accounts, leave those apps, delete their accounts on those apps, under the guise that their personal data is under attack, and the US government doesn't say anything or do anything about it, it'll tell us exactly what we already knew from the start. That this ban was never about security. It was about money, and it was about media control.
Bala tu cuerpo, alegría, Macarena, que tu cuerpo para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Bala tu cuerpo, alegría, Macarena, Macarena.
Good morning and good night. I wake at the twilight. It's gonna be all